we'll walk inside there real briefly. I'm trying to make it as quick as we can.
Yeah, well, let's go on.
We're going to see all the old, any of the old prison buildings that's left. We'll see it. So that's our goal.
I saw you out riding your bike this morning. Before you moved back in.
I've been on it 2 times.
That's actually the prison wall. I don't know if you. It looks like a building, but it's actually just a wall. You can actually walk on top of it. The guards actually walked from each corner where the wall made a turn. They had a guard tower. There was one there. See the wall turns right there? And that building's connected to the wall because Colgate's put that building in. Any prison building wouldn't have been against the wall.
Yeah.
They're all away from the wall, so you can't, jump out the windows. Clarksville Street or Clark Street. This was a Clarksville road right here. And the wall, the prison was on there, obviously. See, there's the end of the wall right here. The wall made that like 45-degree turn, and it used to go right on it past the firehouse. It made another turn and went on down. And this road came on back out on Montgomery. And they kept all their equipment, and they put them in those arched doors. You got the old one with the green fiberglass. That's where they drove their equipment, plows and everything in. And the animals stayed in those wings with the windows. Of course, matter of fact, I'll take you there and show you. There's still where the plaques used to be, where the names were on there. And somebody took the plaques, but you can still see where they were at. Because obviously they had the animals in here. And at one time on one of the prints, they had a canning factory down in this wing where they actually canned their own, produce and everything for the winter, I guess. They were self-sufficient, and they still do that. They still have their own farmland and stuff in the state of Pendleton. But they would bring their equipment in these 2 arched doors. And this was actually the area they parked their equipment. And this was the barnyard. This was open. This didn't have a roof on it. There was a silo in this corner that went up, and this was all open out here. So this was basically a barnyard right here. This is actually the shop that I used. And this is where this single door where they had the animals in, and there's where the glass are in there. And that's part of my shop. So to keep the rain from going in against the window. So this is the original prison overhang, and Colgate put the closest in to give them more room for the garage. This is where they put their animals, and the wind could blow through. There's windows on both sides. And make sure the light on. Here's there's an old one. And they pried them off, and you can see where they were painted around. But people that were hired in here in the 30s had told me that they used to have the horses' names on them, and they had, of course, they tore the stalls out, but these were stalls, and they opened those windows so they get air through, because that was just an open barnyard. So when they got finished plowing or whatever, they bring their horses in here, and they had their own stalls on both sides, both wings. 20, 21, 22 with the log stockade, and then they moved here. And I think it was like probably the 30s before they actually built it.
Actually, 47.
Was it? Okay.
47.
All right. I didn't know when they actually built it. But anyway, some of it's got 50 on it. Some of the drawings I saw, and it could be older. That's just what was on it. I didn't know it was. So 47 is probably.
B was the old cell block.
Yeah, that's B was the oldest. Yeah,
that
it's
was
gone.
Probably the first one they built.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you going? But other than just old, they have big rods going out to the roof holding it up. It's just kind of neat the way they built it. It's held up pretty well. 100 plus years. So this got arch ceiling, strongest. They made pipes out of bricks, all the water lines and everything, drains, everything's brick. Yeah. Like I said, all of this over here was just farmland, so it was nothing old over there. Other than Prison firehouse. The yellow brick part is Colgate. So when Colgate came here, they used the prison boilers because they already had everything in place. Prison had electric generators and lights, and steam heat, vacuum water lines. They got brick tunnels that runs all these buildings up front, from here up front. So the prison pretty well had all the utilities. But building up there with 4 on it is cell block C, which is the new, like 1896. It's the newest cell block, and it had running water, toilets, electric lights, because they had generators. So they had electric in here before the town had electricity. Their powerhouse, in this part right here, they had the generators and the boilers, and then they had a fire department. And on the print I saw it said, we have a well-trained fire department with 10. This, like I said, this is the old prison part. There's even down in the basement there's old pieces of the old boilers, which is not really on the wall, ran at an angle right over there. So they had what they call a sally port, sally gates, that they let the train in through the wall. They would let the train in one car, lumber, whatever, coal, whatever they were buying. The engine would come in a car, and they would shut the doors behind it. Then they open another set of doors and let it on in, so nobody could shoot out, so they had 2 sets of gates. This reservoir, it's 20 foot deep, 20 foot wide, at 160 some odd foot long, 600,000 gallons of water in it. And there's fishing in there. Yeah, this is the prison water system. This is the bar. The old timers, the reason we got all these crisscross braces, the old people, like in prison days, knew that if you let sunshine on water, it turns green, it gets nasty. So they had a roof on it. That's what all that was. And the modern guys tore it off. They didn't need it. The river pump, yeah. The prison had wells. We only have one well left out in front of the company store, Colgate. There used to be some by the hospital underneath 65. When they widened 65, they took it out. There was wells, water wells over there. The wells are still there. Well, they might be the casing because they tore all this building here, this part here. This part's new. I mean, this part's new. I call it in the 20s. If you want to call it new. Colgate's built this part. This is the glycerin department. We actually use a fire system. A lot of people would stock their own building with 8 on it. They built it in 39, 38, after the flood. They built that building. That was bar soap. So that's not that old. There, we'll go up there. I've got the original prints on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor. I don't have any prints on the 4th floor. So I don't know what the prints were up there. I do know what most of them were on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And where you see the stones, where the truck's sitting over there, where the stones are jagged, they're set there on both sides. That was these cell blocks. That came out here in this ground area. In the front of it was a cell block, and the back of it was offices. There was a stairwell in the middle, and I have a picture of when they were tearing down bars. The electrical box, that's the wall. That's the other side of that wall you were looking at. Put your fingers and toes in it. You couldn't climb it at all. They had it plastic split. Of course, it all fell off years ago. But the wall, they didn't see where they didn't want you to climb. They had it plastic. Even any cracks or anything. Actually, out in the front on that peaks at the top of the windows, there's coins cemented in. You can see them from when we go in front. We go awful lot about getting a rip repair and chisel on.
At least get a picture.
Yeah, I'd say they're old. Actually, cell block A, you can see that it was originally 2 floors. You can see the windows just go up to that second landing, and they got arches in them. Then the top connects on from there. So the women's dormitory was the cell block was up at that top. People on office up the top. There's actually stairwells in there. They blocked off. They actually went out to the second floor. Block out here had windows all the way up, just like 4 building. Cell block C, the windows go completely up. There's no floors in there. It went from the bottom to the top. Colgate's put the 2 floors in it. It's 3 floors now, but when they tore all the cell blocks, all the cells out, it was just a big shell. And the same way with this building that went out. It was just a shell, so they put their soap tanks in it, big tall tanks, and then they put a floor on top. They could walk up to the tanks. They just put a floor on the very top of the top of the tank so they could see down in it. Building. Remember that one with the bandstand?
Yeah, I have seen it. I didn't realize that this was that building.
It's right here, because it's down that wall, and then you can see the shadow of the sun. You can see this angle of this building, and the sidewalk went out this angle. While we're in here, I'll show you this way you can do yeah, that's good help to do that in there. You know, where the
Oh, that's a, yeah, that'd be safe in there.
What about down there?
Oh, that's, we'll probably be doing them some steps like that, not like that. Yeah, so somebody.
look at it.
And this is what we put our, oh, yeah.
And when it started, the police department had
But this was cell block C, was the newest cell. And you can see over here they blocked some of the bottoms of the windows off, and on down further you can see how the windows went all the way to the floor. Of course, Colgate just blocked some of them off. But Colgate put these columns in, the ceiling. And of course put these block rooms in here, offices and things. But when they tore the cells out, this was just no floors in it, went all the way up to the catwalk, which is probably 40 feet tall, this way up there. And there wasn't any beams in here, it was just an empty shell.
Is there not a section that shows 2 or 3 floors that they didn't close in? They closed. I thought when we came before, we went out on the catwalk and looked down.
Yeah, you go out on the catwalk and look down.
And
But there's just big tall. There's just tall. See the
I thought we could see 2 or 3 floors.
no, just the 3rd floor. See, there's this floor and then another floor. Is all there is. And Colgate's put those 2 floors in there. And you can go up on the catwalk and look down on that. It's actually our 3rd floor. But you can look down on it, which is pretty far down.
Yeah.
But you can imagine what it looked like looking all the way to this floor.
Yeah,
But
that was seen real far.
the cells were back to back. They were away from the windows and they had balconies. And I know you've seen some of those pictures where they're all lined up, and they got, and there was, I think there was like 5, 6 tiers in this building. If you go to Alcatraz, that's about the same day, the same type of cells, and they had the plumbing chase in the middle, and that's how they escaped through that and climbed up and got out. Yeah, San Francisco, yeah.
Were they built about the same period?
I think so. And so these cells were old. They had like a door at the end and a big lever that would unlock the whole section, and they could get out of their cells. Well, if they had a lockdown, where they have a riot or something like that, then what they would do, they would get behind in these ports.
Yeah.
And the guards would get in. They didn't get in there all the time. Because this one actually's got a fireplace that comes out of the back of a fireplace. And imagine in the winter how hot that was. And they've actually still got a piece of wood in here with nails in them that they hung their coats on. In here, because they took their big black coats off and they had to climb a straight ladder, 6 stories up. And there's platforms. And see, that's a port right there. That they could look out and see that anybody stepped out of their cell in the first layer. And of course, the second guy had a port up there. Each one of them could look down. See, the cells were away from the windows. You'd have to, it was like 5 or 6 feet out. And this one was bricked up until about 3 or 4 years ago. We busted it down and we wanted to see this side. We could see that side. And Colgate must have sealed up one layer of bricks. And
So the guards were on the other side.
Yeah,
looking down this way.
See, so they weren't out of danger, and they see that flared out, they take the right way.
Yeah.
Anybody stepped out of their cell, they take them off.
See, they would climb up there and they look through
watch
that little hole.
Watch your
See
head
that
on
little
those
hole?
nails. Yeah. See way up there?
Can you
See
the
they
hole?
stand on those platforms way up there? There used to be a ladder on this wall. You can still see the
There's a
anchors.
hole they could look at the next section up there and look in and see. And then there's another one.
This to ventilate the room, to have some sort of grass in the room. So that's what this is called, the fresh air shaft. It goes all the way up. You see it on every floor. I mean, it's just a big brick wall, but it's right in the middle, and that's kind of gauged on the print where the rooms were, because I knew where that shaft was, and I just stepped off. And said, this was this room, that room. So we'll go around and go through this. There's a hallway on the other side, and this is actually the outside wall of the administration where the clock is. And this is just a little shed room here where the guards walk. See, the main building here, this goes all the way up to the 4th. I think around the turn of the century they quit using the dungeons as solitary confinement because people got the tuberculosis and everything, and after they've been down there in pitch darkness, black, water, bugs, nasty, they bring your food down with a lantern, throw it in a hole at them. After that, a few months of that, when they brought them out, they finally died because they got TB and everything else, lung problems. So they decided to quit using that. So out here in the hospital, where the hospital was, they actually put a disciplinary wing on there. So it's kind of like Alcatraz there again. Alcatraz has got cells at the end. It's just got everything is blocked up, and it's just got a little port. They don't have the bars where you can see out. It's just got more of a solitary thing, but yet it's up on the ground. So they decided that they needed sunlight would help them. And they even put an annex on down here with a flat roof, and they thought they could take them out of here and put them up there and bake them a while. After they got out of there, it would help.
Where were the dungeons?
We think they're right underneath those. We go down in this basement, and there's a bricked up corridor with an arched ceiling, and we drilled in it, and we thought it was just like one layer of brick, like Colgate sealed up. When the prison sealed it up, they sealed it up. So we drilled with about a 3-foot bit and finally punched through. There's that much brick in there. And we can feel air, coming out of the hole. And when you go all the way down the other end of this building, and you drop down another hole, lift up a plate, there's another basement, smaller, and that's where those bars that we got in the museum, town hall, that's where they came from, out of that end up there. And those bars were cemented in, solid, they didn't open. So what we think was they got air in from there and drew it into this basement for the guys down there. We think there's a corridor running the whole length of this. Because they had to have got in there. There's 2 sets of bars down there, cemented in until they got them cut out, of course.
Yeah.
But back in that corridor, you can walk back in there on 37 flood mud, about that deep. You can walk back there in the arch ceiling, and then it's bricked up. It's sealed up about 20 foot down this way, down that end, and it's bricked up on this end. So we was going to drill through it, break it down with sledgehammer, take a sledgehammer. No. So we didn't.
Might be some nasty air in there you don't want.
So anyway, some of these contractors in here's got jackets and stuff, and I think they're going to slip down there one of these days. Before we get out of here, we're going to see what's down in there. We're thinking there's those cells, because I saw pictures of standing cells that looked like there was water on the floor. And where they call standing cells, they had their cell in the regular cell with a door, but then they had another door that they would just shut the one and stand you between them and shut it, and you couldn't even, just slump down. A real bad person. But they may be down here, they may still be here. You didn't get through that. So they had to come in this end, seal. They couldn't have got in that end. So we think it runs the whole way. And when they quit using them, they seal off something. They seal it off because they didn't want any prisoners to be able to hide in there or something like that. So we think that, and then they put it on the hospital. And they put the wing on the hospital for the disciplinary, and it's on the print.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. Those assistant superintendents and the superintendent, there's like 2 homes there together, a big joining front porch with babies around it. I got a light down there. You can get down and look if you want to. I mean, you may want to dive in or go down there. You can see the hallway turning and going down this way. It's pretty Sorry. This is the stairway that's on that blueprint. Now down stairway. Still working.
I think that's when they did the revamping, remodeling of stuff. Outside and in.
Okay, according to the prints, this was the waiting room. I got the signs on that this is the waiting room. See, a lot of these, this is original brick. These walls, they don't change. They haven't changed. They can't change them because there's no steel in this building. There's no iron. So they can't just knock out a wall if they want to because it's supporting the whole place. Everything so everybody can see what it was. This was the book vault I was telling you, the back. We were on the other side of it. And there where that door is. And then this is the fresh air shaft. This is brick. It goes all the way up so that where the clock is. I think a library. Somewhere to keep, just like they call the gun vault or whatever. It's just you can come on in here. It's all. Hey, go ahead.
This says private secretary's office, but that have been gone. She was the head secretary.
Well, this is the prison. All this is prison stuff. See right here?
Yeah. Okay. Private.
See the fresh air shaft is right there, and here's the book vault, fresh air shaft, laboratory. That door's still there. The human resources. But what I did, all the signs I got on here is the 8 fell off. Here's my picture.
I'd seen a picture of it.
Yeah. This is the board of managers' room. This actually, there's an archway right here. There's a fire back of it sticking out. And that's what I was telling you, it was hot. Because see this angled wall, this is that hallway. There's a door here. And Colgate's put this wall in. And this office went all the way, if you could look in there, went all the way to the front. Went to those windows. This was a big long office, and this was the end of the hallway, and this was a door. That door was a window. Because see, Colgate's added that on with those steps. That's all new. This is the old prison right here to the end of these steps. See that window there is that door. That archway come out about this far, and the mantel was right here. And this big long table was in here all the way out to the windows. And there was, like I said, an old door right here. But this is the board of managers' room right here.
One ear and out.
can't hurry some things.
Oh, okay.
We need a tour now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been up here
I could lead the
all
tour of
day.
the building and go, it's no longer Colgate.
You said you all went over there.
Yeah.
And I'll show you the old building that they ground it, sanded off the castings, and they painted them, enameled them in another room, part of the room. And those buildings are still there.
Is the store still open?
No.
Employees?
No.
Unfortunately.
No.
I have to pay 3 times
Oh, I know
for
it.
dog food.
I know it, yeah. Room, and you come in, it was partitioned off, and it was a buyer's room and a waiting room. We can go on in here. And this,
How about shaving a haircut now?
Terry Randall was first.
Okay.
And then, I forget how many. We had about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Pascal and then Gary Beard's back. No, but this is on the print. This was where the original stuff was. And we're heading back towards the guard hallway again. We just made a loop. They covered them up.
You kind of run it up the stairs, yeah.
That's the actual cell block there with the women. That's cell block A. It's fairly old. Yeah. We went too far. Yeah, we went too far.
We went.
This was actually where the women was at, cell block. These ceilings go way on up beyond there. Way up there. Probably came out, it was men and women's restroom on either side. Stairway come up under the seat, come out around the end. Down on the other end, there was a stairway going up from outside on the sidewalk. This place here. There was metal stairwell up to line 95, still on the outside of the building. You could come in the plan, or you could come in here, go to the ball game without going in the plan, coming in off the sidewalk. So Jeff and all, had to do a team play on there. And also, how you could work overtime and set pins with the bowling alley at night with a hand set 2 lanes. They had pool tables, ping-pong tables, gymnasium up here. They had softball and baseball teams. So basketball, they were into a lot of sports, a lot of athletics. Because back then, I guess you couldn't go nowhere and play in the gym. But this whole place was full when they were running. They had different blocks, different parts of the world. I mean, this was actually the world computer center worldwide at one time. Fairly busy place when they took it.
Their own river water. Pumping it in now.
And it's fun.
I went down there and see Arlie Coleman with Dempster Dogs.
They don't do anything.
Loomis, yes, I believe Loomis designed the cell block seat. I believe he was an architect. Cell block seat.
Yeah, when I think Loomis was on that film. On the revisions, 18.5 revisions. So, but anyway, this was just the original hallway. These were apartments, all these rooms like bedrooms and things. And there was a bathroom down here in this corner, where this angle is. And from right there, that doorway all the way to where we were there was the original second floor hallway of the administration building. It goes all the way up. And they had on the next floor, they had an old balcony that used to stick out. They changed some a bit, but it's a big window there. I'll show you where it was. And the fourth floor, I don't know. I don't have the print on it. I don't know what rooms were what up there, but the prison did use the fourth floor. And the fourth floor, the roof burned off in 1918, and that's when they didn't repair the ceiling. They just put the roof backs with flat roof, the timbers, and you can still see it up there. You can see where the old ceiling joists were in the brick. They burned out and they just left them. And Colgate really never used the fourth floor either. They just used the next floor up was the lab that Colgate used. But you can still see the fourth floor where the old ceilings were in the 1918 fire burned out the ceiling joists, the timbers. And they just fixed the roof part, but they didn't go back in and fix the ceilings in the offices because Colgate never used them. What's going on here? Yeah, just stay right here a minute. This area right here, like I said, this wall from there beyond is the old administration. And the same thing right down there is the air shaft. And some of these offices we can see in here. Because as you can see up there, the angled roof, this whole section all the way down is like where the guards hall is. They've added these floors. It's actually an addition to the back of the administration. So this brick wall here is the original part that the clock's on, and this is more or less just like a shed roof out of the back. So, and then also all these offices in here are the original offices and walls. So we won't get into all that, but I'll show you this. We go through this one and show you. Coins over each one. Now see this is the room we're in now. We're in the kitchen. You see the angle. See this. See the angled corner. The angled corner.
Oh, okay.
See the angle.
Round thing at the bottom.
See this.
I was going to say, what are we serving?
It's got these balusters, square on top, turned outside the window. Look out there. You can see it. The round balusters, the stone out there. And if you look at this decoration or whoever
Up
built
there.
it,
Over that
no
window.
idea.
You think
I
they're
don't guess
building
anybody
on
does.
1897, they did it. That's probably.
That is an interestingly shaped building.
This print I showed you, the 1899 improvements and additions. See, those were the old windows. This was the wing on over there. Just like down there where the kitchen and the dining room was, and the barber shop, all 4 floors. And this is the top floor of the addition. So they plugged the windows and then added on in here. You can see that this was the ceiling, and all the boards got burned out in that fire. Burnt this whole top off. Then they put these new ones in just, for the rain purposes, because they didn't use these for offices. They did use this for the break room, for the Kittle house. The guys would come in there from the soap cooking and use this as a break room. More in there. You want to get a good look at some of the fancy brickwork. That little metal box up there, that's sitting on top of the chimney that went to that fireplace we saw down there.
No.
That's actually the chimney.
Oh, right here. Okay.
that angled roof over there sticking out of the big square? That's the top of the air shaft. And it used to go. See, they added this on Cincinnati Bell Tower Equipment Company. They added the electric part of it. It used to be weight driven.
Okay. And this little bitty thing runs the clock.
Well, it's turning it right there. See it turning?
Yeah.
Is the time right? 7:39 is the time.
I got a lot bigger motor than that on my table saw.
I'm not showing that turn.
Just as soon as you say how easy it is.
Yeah, and it's hard. What happens sometimes it gets a pull on it.
You have to do a whole hour, you're done. You're a while.
Loosen it up.
This one makes it work. That's it. That little bitty motor there.
Yeah, I see that.
Now you can get out there and look at it.
Maybe I'll go the right time.
How do you tell what time it is in here?
Well, we kind of use that, but normally two of us come out and they watch it.
Oh, okay.
Which way am I going?
They said back up.
I'm just showing you how you can move it. I'll back it back now.
5 to 8.
Just holler when you think it's right.
John, you should have been getting the movie of it.
And that made that's looking that way. If you look underneath there, that you see what's left of that air shaft.
That's why I was calling.
That angled roof over there.
They have about 30 people to tour because we're camping. Yep, the other part of the
This building. You can see it when you drive out front. People don't notice it, but you can still look at the end of this building. You can see the tower on it. If you want to go up there, you go up them steps right there. And the guys behind them in the corner peeping out and having one view looking down on you. As you can tell, it's old ironwork. It's old original. Riveted together everything.
Yeah, I wish that camera had it. Wouldn't have quit on me. Somebody had this little thing with them. They didn't even flashing anymore. You might trip on that piece of wood. 400 feet, 500.
I don't remember the exact number.
City, wow.